Who else? I can fit two more. Who else? Brandy? Okay. Yep, right here. Next to Chad. There we go. Slide down just a touch. Slide down just a touch. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. There we go. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay. So we're all set? Yes. Thank you. Let's get started. My name is Anita Dantzler. I'm the Public Information Director with the South Carolina Department of Probation, Parole, and Pardon Services. We are holding this press conference to provide further explanation of the parole hearing process. First, I'd like to introduce my acting director for the agency, Jody Gallman, who will speak today. And then I'd like to also introduce Associate Deputy Director for Paroles, Pardons, and Release Services, Valerie Suber, who will also be speaking with you today. Okay? So, first, Acting Director Gallman.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. First, I want to thank the entire executive management team. But behind me, you have some of the executive management team and some of the senior managers in the department. Secondly, I want to thank the department staff for everything that they do during the course of the year, and especially for the parole hearings and the pardon processes that we have in place. I want to give a special thanks to the Paroles, Pardon, and Release Services Division. Without that staff, the hearings could not take place. And next, for today, I want to especially thank what we are calling the Special Operations Team. Those were the different folks that you saw today in the uniform. Some just had their little badges on them, but that entire team are putting the work together for today. And lastly, I just want to thank the Parole Board. The Parole Board has difficult decisions that they have to make, as you witnessed some of the decisions that were made today. So we want to thank them for their services. And now we'll hear from Deputy Director Suber.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As stated, my name is Valerie Suber. I am the Associate Deputy Director for Paroles, Pardons, and Release Services. I'd like to first say thank you to Court Television for providing live streaming services today and for highlighting the parole process in the state of South Carolina. In South Carolina, we schedule roughly 3,000 inmates every year for parole consideration. Today, inmate Susan Smith, SCDC number 221487, was denied parole. This was by a unanimous decision of the board. One board member did recuse herself from this vote. The reasons for denial were identified as follows, and if we could hit this on the screen behind you is a graphic. The nature and seriousness of the current crime. Her institutional record is unfavorable. The inmate will be notified of the disposition of this hearing, as well as the reasons for rejection. Inmate Smith will be eligible again for parole consideration in 2 years. Thank you.
Okay, do you have any questions? Yes.
Being that the reasons for the parole being denied were nature and seriousness of current offense and institutional record, does that mean when she comes back in 2 more years, the nature and seriousness of the current offense will be the reason that she's denied again? Like, will she just get denied for this? Times that she comes?
I can't speak as to what will happen. It is a reason for denial, and the board may use that reason again in 2 years, yes.
And could they not use it? Like, could they decide to not look at the nature and seriousness of the current offense?
The board is an autonomous decision-making body. They make their decisions independent of this agency. They do have the discretion to grant parole as they see fit. So it is at their discretion that they grant or deny, and the reasons that they grant or deny are at their discretion as well.
Valerie, what was the nature of the conflict of the board member that excused herself or himself?
I have that statement here for you, and I will read it for you again as it was read onto the record. Be advised that I will recuse myself in the parole hearing of Susan Smith, Number 221487, I was acting warden at Camille Graham Correctional Center in 1999, where inmate Smith was housed and subsequently transferred to Leith Correctional Institution. I have determined that it is appropriate to recuse to eliminate any appearance or affecting her opportunity for parole, and it is signed respectfully, Geraldine P. Miro, board member.
And we have a question here.
She actually just asked it.
She asked it? Okay. Anyone else have a question?
Thank you.
Mhm.
I noticed that all of the parole hearings, all of the decisions were actually rejected. Is that normal?
Our parole rate for violent crimes is currently 8%. So there is not a high parole rate in South Carolina currently. So I guess in essence, that is pretty typical.
Another question? Yes.
Are there supposed to be 7 parole board members?
Yes, the board consists of 7 members appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. We do have 1 vacant seat that has been vacant since 2022. So that vacancy is not considered in the quorum. And then Ms. Miro recused herself, so there were 5 voting members in this hearing.
Why is that seat vacant?
Because the governor appoints and the Senate confirms, and that hasn't happened.
In recent years in the state of South Carolina, has there been an inmate who was granted parole with the seriousness of this nature?
Inmates have been granted parole who committed murders, and there are inmates currently on parole for life sentences, yes.
Any other questions? Yes.
What makes a difference the inmates who had committed murders or had life sentences were granted paroles versus Susan Smith's case?
Again, the board grants parole at their discretion, and I will quote a statute for you because it is probably the most potent statute that I can reference, and that is 2421-640. The board must carefully consider the record of a prisoner before, during, and after imprisonment, and no such prisoner may be paroled until it appears to the satisfaction of the board that the prisoner has shown a disposition to reform, that in the future he will probably obey the law and lead a correct life, that by his conduct he has merited a lessening of the rigors of his imprisonment, that the interest of society will not be impaired thereby, and that suitable employment has been secured for him. That is 2421-640, which gives the board complete discretion to grant or deny parole, and it is not until they are satisfied that these conditions are present that an inmate may be paroled. Yes.
So I didn't hear this discussed, but did Susan Smith have any hard offers of employment if she would have been released, or had she satisfied that?
The employment offers are not verified until the person actually makes parole.
Was there anybody else besides the Currys that were in favor of her release? Like correspondence or anything like that?
I don't know who was in favor of parole. I think we've already reported out on the number of letters received, and I don't have any other information outside of that.
So just for, I'm sorry to make you repeat this, how many letters were received?
There were 6, I believe.
6 that were for parole, and as of November 17th or 18th, it was 471 letters or correspondences received, because some were emails. Okay?
And how is the inmate informed that whether or not they're parole?
Our agency employs staff release examiners who are present at each institution, and they are advised of the outcome of the hearing at the time the decision is made at the prison.
I think I have one. Why is it like every 2 years to have a parole hearing? How does that work?
Okay, by statute, because of the time her crime was committed, she is eligible for parole every 2 years. There is a window where certain individuals are eligible every year, but because she is serving for a violent crime and the time she was convicted and her crime was committed, the law requires that she wait 2 years before she's considered again.
Okay. Just one more thing, folks. Several of you have asked me about the names of the persons that spoke during the Susan Smith hearing. So I'm going to give it to you right now. David Smith, Tiffany Smith, Savannah Smith, Douglas Smith, Rebecca Smith French. Rebecca is spelled Rebecca. And I believe it's former Representative Tommy Pope and Solicitor Kevin Brackett. Brackett, Brackett. So those are pretty easy names. I think you got it. I know you got it. You won't be calling me tonight.
One question.
All right.
Is it with an H or without an H?
Savannah with an H.
Thank you.
All right.
The folks who spoke in favor of Smith McCurry's, is that Curry or IE?
Now, I do not have that. Who spoke in favor?
They registered with SCDC, we don't keep that.
Right. So they are registered with the South Carolina Department of Corrections. So yes, they would have that information for you. I want to thank you all for staying with us and coming here to this press conference today. We're going to also take you down the stairs, down the elevators in a very orderly fashion, just as you got up here. Okay? Thank you.